My wife said she wanted to go to a spa, but I told her just to use the steam from the dishwasher. It's cheaper. Welcome to Shave&Butcher. Try another outdoor shave today, and today it's going to be a bit of tips and tricks for straight razor shavers. I saw my fellow wet shaving friend Matti Lindholm, that's his YouTube channel as well, do one of these a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd do one too. And so, I'll get cracking. This is Spearhead Shaving Company, Bergamot and Sandalwood, and this was chosen through my new soap randomizer lottery thing I did, because I don't use all the soaps that I have too many, so I'm randomizing. It's a lot. Chance tells me which soap to use. Luxury problems, eh? The brush today is from Paladin. It's been soaking. It's a 28mm 2-band Badger brush called Winston. I didn't name him. So if you hear that, that's the train. It's pretty far away, but sometimes you can hear it. Yeah, so Matti did tips and tricks and talked about technique in shaving with a straight razor. And I thought before I do mine, I'll just check with him to see if I can get any ideas from him. And basically, the list I wrote down on things to say is Matti's list. So I don't think I came up with anything on my own. But let's see. We'll go through the shave and see what we come up with. It's a beautiful day in the south of Sweden. A little bit of moisture onto the skin there, and that's why I thought outdoor shaving could be nice. Well, one of the first things that Matti mentioned was, I've got a mirror down here so I may glance down. The infrastructure for shaving outdoors hasn't been perfected yet in this household. So yeah, one of the first things Matti said was get a proper soap and brush, and I think that's very good advice. You can shave with a shave gel, which doesn't require a brush, and that could give you a good slick lather. But the best lather for wet shaving, and perhaps especially with a straight razor, I'm just dipping the tips here to get more water into the soap. Well, that is just that, a hydrated lather that you build up. You take a premium soap, either an artisanal soap, of which there are more and more around, or you use a high quality soap that you're able to find in your normal shops. But don't, use a good one. I won't go into what good is, but one that allows you to build a proper lather, and then you can work it to the state that you want with a brush. You don't need a fancy brush. A synthetic brush is probably easier than a Badger. I just happen to like Badgers, but I mix it up quite a bit. So what I try to do with the lather is get it quite wet, quite moisturized. This is a feeling of, or a question of preference. So I'm not going to tell you need it. Seagulls are out. I'm not going to tell you need it super wet or anything like that, but with a good quality soap and brush, you can modify it to whatever you want to. And that's the big advantage with using proper, traditional wet shaving product instead of a gel or a ready foam, which works, but they go dry more quickly, for example, so it is a bit more complicated. That's the dog. He's inside, because if he was outside, he'd be barking like mad. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, we're having a coffee. Beard mapping is important. So you need to figure out which way your beard grows. You can do that by feeling the beard. You can also do it by using a piece of cotton and move it around and see where it sticks to sort of a 1 day worth of growth. that helps you quite a bit to get a high quality shave. Today we're shaving with a 5/8 Swedish, pretty standard straight razor. It's from SSA, Swedish Steel Association, or Incorporation actually. Here we go. So by knowing, which I can't see. Okay, so knowing your beard is good when you can't see very much. That helps you determine the direction of the shave. So I shave in 2 passes. First pass is essentially with the grain, so I need to know which direction it grows. Second pass is essentially against the grain, so same thing. And it's not entirely with the grain at the moment, it's just mainly with the grain. Now, not everyone can shave against the grain. So a lot of people do with the grain to remove most of the whiskers. That's just easier. And then across the grain, and can do a third pass, which is also across the grain. A lot of people do third passes. You see it a lot on YouTube. I don't find it necessary. I would to get what is called a BBS shave. I'm doing this blind now. So a baby bottom smooth shave, which I don't chase. I can get them, but I don't chase them because I shave pretty much every day. And if I was chasing a BBS shave, I'd be annoying my skin quite a bit. Another thing with straight razors is angle. Which angle do you use? Well, when you've done it for a while, it comes automatic. Like a lot of things in life, so you don't think about it. But I probably use an angle of anything between 15 to 45 degrees when I shave with the straight razor. You can start by putting the spine to your face so that the edge isn't touching at all. Then you put it flat, and then you can build up a little bit of an angle, and basically when you feel it's cutting to an extent that you need, then that's your angle. Now, if that is 20 degrees or 40, varies. I think 30 degrees is generally what is recommended. You get more irritation, more cuts, and more annoying things in general if your angle is too big. So try and use a shallower angle, and if it doesn't cut because it's too shallow, well, then you increase it a bit. So that's that. Another thing that Matti pointed out, which is very true, is you don't want to buff too much. Buffing is where, if you use a safety razor, for example, you go over an area several times. You don't need that with the straight, because it cuts anyway. And you don't want it with the straight, because that causes irritation generally. So I go over an area once, maybe twice, but in longer strokes I don't buff. Stroke length, up to you. Totally up to you. But you don't have to do buffing. That's what I'm saying. Now, stretching is another thing, which is different from normal wet shaving or shaving with a straight or a safety razor and a straight. Sometimes you need to stretch the skin. You saw me stretching a little bit in the beginning, and again, I don't think about what I do anymore. But I don't always stretch the skin. Some people need to. If you have floppy skin, if that's English, or wrinkly skin, you may need to stretch quite a bit. But you don't have to stretch for the sake of stretching, if that makes sense. So when I shave with the grain, I don't have to stretch all that much. When I shave against the grain, which I'm going to do now quite a bit, I need a bit more stretching because of the resistance, I think. And I want to make sure I get a proper clean shave. By the way you hold your razor, completely individual. Don't hold it like me. Almost no one does. I got a bread knife style grip, but you don't have to hold it in any particular way. Use what the pros recommend to start with, is what I would say, which is, what do they do? Typically hold it something like that. One finger on the tang for control and 2 fingers here, and the thumb underneath. That gives you a pretty good grip. You start out like that, but if you feel another grip is better, then use it. So I use a stupid grip. Look like a... So I'm holding the skin down just a little bit here. Oh, and shave indoors so you can use a proper mirror, by the way. So that you don't cut your ear. So I'm holding the skin down, not stretching very much, but I'm making sure it doesn't follow the razor. So this would be stretching. I'm more holding it taut. Again, hardly seeing what I'm doing. But holding the skin down is all it takes. If you stretch too much, you can easily get irritation. Pretty cool being outdoors shaving and listening to the birds. Here I need quite a bit of stretching, otherwise the lip would just follow the blades. I stretch quite a bit as I go across. And again, you can go upwards, this is the so-called fool's pass. I bleed a lot when I do that, so I try and avoid it. Here is tricky, because I got halos and stuff. So keeping taut is important. So it's pretty and nice and warm, but not all that practical to be outdoors. Yeah, and another thing on technique. Do I have soap there? What am I doing? What? Qu'est-ce que je fais? Is to go slow. Don't go fast. You're only going to regret it. I shave very slowly for a few reasons, but mainly because I enjoy that. If you are in a hurry and think a straight razor shaving is too slow, then it's the wrong thing for you to do. And try and think about what you're doing and feel what you do. How does it feel? Because in the beginning it will be optics. Mainly. You've watched YouTube, you've studied your face, you've done the beard mapping, you're going to look a lot at what you do. But pretty quickly, try and do so you can feel it too. So, stretching. I've got to sort out the mirror thing here. I can't get that in any against the grain sensible way, so I just go with the grain one more time. And it's important to have a light touch. A light touch is extremely important. If you push, not only could you cut yourself, in case you have the wrong angle or anything, but it's uncomfortable, and you will get irritation afterwards for sure. So light touch, as light as you can, and if it doesn't cut, and the razor is sharp, the angle is correct, then you need to push a little bit more. But basically, almost nothing. In the beginning, I heard people say use the weight of the razor. Now, that doesn't mean anything to me. It means a lot. Most people understand that. I don't get it. What do you mean? Because you are using your hand, and you're using muscle power to move your hand around. So how can you only use the weight of the razor? I don't know. But it's a good way of thinking, even if it's not technically true or possible. Think of it that way. Do as light as you can. Start on the cheeks, because that's a bit easier. And do as light as you can and see if it cuts. And then you've got enough pressure. So down here, I don't need to stretch the skin. Well, I kind of do it by holding my head up. But I don't need to use my hands. God, this is a tricky area, and it's hard if you can't see. So I'm trying to go by memory. That also shows you vision isn't everything, and you can shave with a straight razor if you're blind. There are people who do that. Just Lance is a YouTube channel, which is a good example. He's only starting to try out straight razors, but he makes it work. He's completely blind. Exercising in the morning, beautiful. They're wondering, what is that gentleman doing with foam on his face and a bread knife, talking English? I'm in Sweden, by the way. So that turned out to be a good shave. You can feel afterwards where it's good and where, if you want to go perfectly BBS, where you need to scrub a bit extra. But that was good enough for me. So let's see what other advice we have and that Matti had. Well, use a moisturizer. I wrote that down. I don't need to use a moisturizer, you may say, and you may be right. I pretty much always put on a balm. I've been trying, since the weather's been nice, experimenting in the last few weeks to not put any moisturizer on. And I've discovered, correct, I don't need a moisturizer to make my skin feel good. I do in the winter, not so much in the summer. It's just, why not put it on? Put it on. Anyway, overhydrate your skin. It will thank you for it. You're going to look better and less wrinkly. I can guarantee it. It's not so macho to use a balm, perhaps. Come on. Climb down from the trees, boys. Yeah, let the skin rest is on my note. So this is a mixture of a splash and a balm, but it's more of a splash. But it moisturizes a little bit, although it does have a bit of alcohol. This is Hega from Sweden, Hega Uppsala. So let the skin rest. If you can't shave every day, then don't. Or if you have to shave every day for work, for example, then don't use a straight razor every day then. Alternate so that the skin feels good, because it has to be enjoyable. You'll cut yourself and you get more irritation at the beginning because you're doing it wrong, and that will change with time. But even when you get experienced and you do it right, if your skin doesn't allow you to shave every day with a straight, then don't. Or if you do 3 passes, stop doing that, do 2 passes instead. It's good enough if you know what you're doing. Most importantly, I think the advice from me and from Matti, I'm gonna have to put a link to his channel, give him copyright privileges. The most important thing really is to have fun, because we're doing this, or I'm doing this, most people shave with a straight razor because it's fun and it's interesting. It shouldn't be a chore, it should be the opposite. So experiment until you find your way around it, and have fun. It'll be worth it. Most people think so. It's tough in the beginning, it's a learning curve, but you'll enjoy it, I'm sure. So have fun, and until I see you again, stay sharp.